Zelda, Link to the Past. This is the third part in my 4-part series where I'm going to review games that you're not going to believe I've never reviewed. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I had actually planned on doing Twilight Princess as my Zelda review for this series. I even rebought the game since I lost my first disc. And I did that a year ago. And since then, I lost that disc. I swear I saw it a month ago, but now it's gone again. I did want to do a Zelda game, so I looked at all the Zelda games that I've reviewed, and I was kind of surprised I never reviewed this. So I figured it's about time. Maybe one day I'll go rebuy Twilight Princess again and do a review on it. But for now, let's take a look at A Link to the Past. This is the one and only Super Nintendo Zelda game, and it's also the one that spawned a super popular 3DS game that was released just a year ago. I'm a huge Zelda fan. Not so much for Zelda 2 though. I love the sense of exploration and adventure the first game had. This game takes that idea and improves it 150%. Now this game starts up with you sleeping in your uncle's house when a bad dream wakes you up. It is odd that a house with 2 people in it only has 1 bed. Anyways, your uncle goes out for some reason. I guess he got the same dream from Zelda. The only thing he tells you is to stay in the house. So of course as a punk teenager, you decide to immediately go out in the rainstorm. Because adults are stupid and we don't listen to them. Already I'm rooting against the main character. Why didn't he just stay in the house? His uncle could be the main character in this game. But anyway, we found a hidden hole that gives us access to the castle. We fall down this big hole. You come across a dying body of your uncle, who I assume died of 2 broken legs from that fall. I guess he's a little bit more heavy and that puddle of water didn't break his fall. He tells you to go save the princess. So blah blah blah, you go rescue the princess, you travel through the sewers, get hepatitis, and end up in a church. From there your adventure begins. You'll travel through towns where you'll meet way better people who should be on this quest to save the world than a boy. However, since everybody's apparently a they leave it up to you. You have to travel through old dungeons to find 3 pendants, which can be used to unsheath the Master Sword from its resting place. Then you use that sword to vanquish the wizard Ajum, who's been causing all the problems in your life. There are quite a few story twists and turns, and in the second part of this adventure, the world turns out to be twice as large as you thought it would be. Graphically, the game looks great for a Super Nintendo game. When you compare it to the original game on the NES, or its black sheep distant cousin on its mother's side sequel, they really do a great job of making the world colorful and different in the areas and dungeons you explore. The Zelda franchise is all about the power-ups and new weapons. This one brings back the classics like the bow and arrows and bombs, but it also has new abilities like the Pegasus boots, which lets you run fast, and the hookshot, which lets Link become Batman. You'll hunt out for extra heart pieces, which you can use to add more hearts to your body, which is way less disgusting than it sounds. You're going to need those heart pieces because the enemies can really be challenging in this game, especially in the second half of the story. The puzzles in the dungeon were very clever. Often you would be hindered in progressing the game without the correct item from the dungeon itself, so it really wasn't that hard to figure out where to go in the dungeons. That's not to say it wouldn't get frustrating, but it never got to the point where I would rage quit. Save those rages for the bosses though. While they did follow the normal pattern most of the time of use the item that you got in the dungeon to fight them, they were still quite difficult at times. Having extra bottles with fairies or potions will come in very handy in the boss fights. Like I said, you're going to need those extra bottles and other items. However, if you want them, you're going to need to explore the kingdom and find its secrets, even if it's not part of the story itself. Zelda games have always had special items and things for people who decide to go exploring, and there's no shortage of that in this game. Luckily, they give you a map in case you need to know where to go. You can pull it up at any time, and eventually you can even warp to certain places on the map. The game is very replayable, if only because there are so many secrets and places to explore. Even after you beat the game, I'm going to bet you're going to go back and try it again because it was so much fun. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is a fantastic game. However, this is no shock to anyone. It's a true classic, up there with Super Mario Bros. And Tetris. Graphically, the game looks great. In fact, it still holds up. It controls well, and while the storyline was a bit goofy, it was still interesting. The world you inhabit is very big, and that's even before you find there's a whole new world to explore. So there is no doubt you should absolutely buy this game now. Well, that was my review of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Why don't you check out my previous 2 reviews that you can't believe I've never reviewed. My last one was Wonderful 101, or the one before that was Skylanders Swap Force. Like always, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.